It is an honor for me to have been asked to address you. And I was told I had 20 minutes, so I will take 15 minutes or less to share my thoughts with you on the subject of the importance of the study of humanities, our place in the 21st century education. And then, if Dr. Joseph will allow me and allow you to take a few minutes for questions or comments, criticisms, etc. Well, of course, we teach a number of academic disciplines at the University of the Southern Caribbean. We have math, we have natural science, we have social sciences, and then there are the humanities. What do we mean? Obviously you know, but we are talking about those disciplines that include religion, philosophy, art, music, literature, poetry, language, grammar, and I'm sure I'm missing several others, and you can correct me or augment what I've stated. If we take a review of the 20th century and its emphasis on science and technology, this is not to say anything at all disparaging about scientists or technologists. That emphasis, that focus produced World War I, World War II, nuclear proliferation, the extermination of the Jews by the Nazis in Germany, the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, or Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Korean War, the Vietnamese War, the persecution of the Palestinians, genocide in Croatia, Bosnia, Rwanda, Darfur, violence, racism, sexism. Now, of course, we can't blame science and technology for those atrocities. But certainly, one can deduce that the lack of emphasis on humanity and on the study of the humanities could be one reason that mankind visited such inhumane behavior on their fellow human beings. So, what is the 21st century that we have the privilege to be living in at its dawn? What could that hold for us? Well, according to one group of people who look at history with a very long view, the Sanskrit writers, the authors of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, they call this the age, the end of the Kali Yuga, the eon, brutality that's been going on for some 7,000 years. Others, New Age thinkers, call this the dawn of the Golden Age, or the Age of Aquarius. It is an age where we can expect to see, particularly with enlightened and educated people like yourselves, the end of ethnocentrism, of racism, and the discovery that jewels are many, but gold is one. Cows are many, but milk is one. Rivers are many, but the sea is one. People are many, but humanity is one. And religions are many, but God is one. So we speak now about one race. We're not talking about Martians or Venusians. We're speaking about humans. And what, regardless of the color that you happen to be born with, or change your skin color to, the texture of your hair, the features on your face, we are all human beings. So to speak about races is really unscientific. Because whether you take a pygmy and a Laplander, someone from Croatia or Rwanda, as long as they're healthy individuals, they can reproduce. This is why I have said on numerous occasions, the Spanish referral to people like myself as mulatto is a racist term, because we know that when a horse and a donkey produce offspring, that is mule. But the mule is incapable of reproducing. But people who we call mulatas or mulattoes are not in that category. So that even our language, we need to be very careful of to ensure that we are not reproducing stereotypes and bias and bigotry that will hamper our evolution as a species. And I say evolution because I'm not really talking necessarily about growing extra fingers or physiological or biological mutations. I'm talking about the evolution of consciousness, the evolution of our perception of how we think, how we perceive ourselves, and how we perceive others. That is something where we still have a lot of room to grow. I just want to say that it is a privilege for me to be working in this institution, about which I knew very little before I came to work here. Because what strikes me, and has continued to impress me, about my students, some of whom are in this room, is their dedication to basic human values, to basic decency. And I have found invariably among the students an openness to learning and a generosity of soul toward people who are different than themselves that I find extremely refreshing in a society, and I'm not speaking exclusively about Trinidad and Tobago or the Caribbean, but the global society where we still tend to find ourselves in camps of us versus them. So I am very impressed with the caliber of students, not only their intellectual capacity and aptitude, but their openness, their honesty, their integrity. Because it doesn't matter how far you reach academically, scholastically, or professionally. If you lack basic integrity, if you can't discriminate between what's right and what's wrong, what's true and what's false, what's good and what's evil, then we fail as educators. You could be the most brilliant engineer or philosopher, but if you are dishonest, then you will accept a contract and you will rob your contractors, the people who employed you, got an A in stress in engineering, and still be willing to do unethical things. So let's look at the idea of humanities and education in humanities for life as well as for living. What humanities helps us to appreciate is that we have multiple intelligences. Someone may be very good in one subject and not so good in another. And to the degree that you who are graduating are becoming educators formally, teachers, professors, or simply as parents or persons who live a life that can be modeled, live a life that can be exemplary to others. Remember that aptitude or academic skill is applied attitude. Once we are interested, once we take a genuine interest and a passion in what we're doing, we're bound to be successful. But remember that success is not just how well you do on an exam. That success is how well you are willing to share what you've learned to help others, to assist others on their paths. Since this is about humanities, allow me to share with you a poem by an English poet, an American poet of the English language, Robert Frost. He says, "But yield who will to their separation. My object in living is to unite my avocation and my vocation. As my two eyes make one in sight, only when love and need are one, and life is play for mortal states, is the deed ever really done for heaven and for future saints." So the message there, ladies and gentlemen, is yes, pursue your academic excellence, pursue professional excellence, but do not ignore